So, hello there. A little bit of a different thing this time around. Usually when I make playthroughs of my maps, I don't put any commentary over it. But I thought this time, let's do something different and let's put a little bit of developer commentary over it. And that's what we're going to do today. One of the maps I made, Spooky Chase at Halloween. It's almost Halloween again, so I guess it's fitting. And so yeah, let's go. Ah, oui, there you are. I'm Henri Loren Maxime Matteo Robert, but I'm sure you know me. Everybody does, even that my art is legendary. Some wannabe spooky ghosts stole some of our most prized possessions. Now drops them off somewhere one by one. You're the best ghost hunter money can buy, so I'm confident you will follow the ghostly trails with your ethereal lamp and catch this little rascal. First, you should go to the basement of my house and turn the power back on in the utility room. I'll stay here and watch your progress. Now come on, move, quick! Indeed, we shall do so. Also, if you want to play the map, download link is in the description. Now, first thing, just want to mention here, you can see that Henri has a very long name. I thought it would be fitting for someone who is like an eccentric artist to have an overly long name. Also, regarding the voice actors, you heard it was just myself doing the voice acting here. I actually wanted to get an actual French voice actor to record everything, like his voice lines, but due to various reasons that didn't end up happening, so I just ended up recording all of this myself. Also, something here to take a look at, the stick breads here that the family is like roasting together over the fire. Take a look at those things again at the end of the map. You see that by the time you finish the map, they have actually eaten up all of those stick breads. It's a nice little detail. You can see how the world evolves around you. Also, it's like a little Halloween map, a little ghost haunting this house, as I just explained. The family is still making the best of it, right? Sitting on the outside here. There's some cans of soft drinks. The mother's here, the father, the kids, dogs, everyone all together, so they're just making the best of it, despite their house getting haunted by a cute little rascal ghost. So, I'd say, just keep going, use the ethereal lamp here. See, there's these footprints on the floor that show up as long as the lamp is active, and once the lamp turns off again, you can see everything disappears again. This mechanic is inspired by Luigi's Mansion 2. There's also a little ghost dog in this video game called Polter Pup. You chase it, and I like the idea of doing this, so I ended up using this as a basic mechanic of how you do what you do in this game. Short intervention here. Something I forgot to mention is that the sparkling effect you can see on screen every time you use the ethereal lamp is based off of the similar looking effect from Talon's End Dust video from his Content SMP series. Great series from him and the others, by the way. Check it out. Link is in the description. Play. Also, this is a bell. If you ring it, you can hear that it actually works. So it's a regular little doorbell you can add. I just added. Also, all the light switches don't work, as you said. The power is currently not working. Now it's very dark in here, but you can still see there are these signs on the walls here everywhere, telling you which room is which might not be the most realistic thing to do, but who would have signs like this in his own house, labeling what is in every room. But despite the fact it's a little bit unrealistic, I'd say all in all it is still worth it to do it, because it makes it's a lot easier to see what you can imagine if it would be completely dark in here, you couldn't see anything. So finding the room you're supposed to find would be a lot harder if that was the case. So, see the paths that we follow, these circles where the little ghost passed through the wall, as he does his mischief. So in here we have these little mini ghosts. Now, as you can probably guess, they're just retextured mini slimes, so they don't deal any damage. You can just stand here, let them jump all over you. So, not something you necessarily have to take care of, but thought, originally I just came in here with a sword or something. I thought, okay, what kind of ghost hunter has a sword? So I thought, it would kind of fit to the like cute spooky vibes, and I thought, well, a broom would fit, so I can just go there and just like whack them with the broom. I just imagine them like your ghost hunter standing there just with his broom and just constantly hitting the floor, trying to smack all these little ghosts. But yeah, here's the power unit. Just press it. You can see that. Oh, wee! Now that the power is back on, you can turn on all light switches again. So now go and follow the newly appeared spooky trail with your lamp and find my belongings one by one. Indeed, Henri, we'll do so. Now we just saw the ghost there. Now what is the ghost supposed to be? It's like it's not really any existing animal. The original idea again was a dog. But I thought, you know what, a ghost can do whatever I want. So I just gave it like weird colors and like stripes all over its body. And like 4 tails that like happily wiggle around and stuff like this. I think it turns out quite nice. And the voice also fits really well with the little spooky, cute vibes of the map. Now something else here, especially in the basement, originally I had the idea to have the layout of these rooms to be random every time you actually play the map. It means right now there's a hobby room here, but if you would replay the map, then maybe there would just not be a door here at all. Instead there might be a door here, and there would be a different room here, and like, for example, the pantry would all like shift around. I did this so it would kind of feel as if the map was a little bit cursed when you play it, and you like play it once and you play it again, you were like, wait a second, wasn't there like a different room here last time around? Weird. So I thought it would fit very well to the spooky vibes of the map, so it feels like the map itself is a little bit cursed. But ultimately I did not add that, because I thought, well, most people are just gonna play the map once anyways, then never again, so it was kind of not really worth the time to do this. Also here you can see the room. Henri said he's an artist, and you can see all of the different rooms here with the different art forms. He tries like painting, and there's like music and stuff like this, and over there we had it's like geology, kind of like stem, like stones collected and stuff like this that he uses for all of his art projects. So a bit of like world building in there. Then down here, the second basement. Let's turn on the lights. You can see everything properly. This now on the one hand I think it's kind of cool to have that he's like apparently so rich he has a second basement, and then like a giant pool made of like jade gemstones everywhere you can swim in. Also keep in mind this ladder here, like if you fall in, of course you have to get back out again because the water is very low. So you have to get back out, but once we progress a bit further to the map we'll come back and I'll talk about all of this a little bit more. The room itself, almost this style, was actually taken from another map I made called Sunny Goobloom. Yes. I forgot something. Ah yes, I took it from this map, and in this map there's also a hidden area which has this kind of like pool room. It's like of aesthetic. I just took it from there and added it in here. Also camera. Here I'll talk about the cameras later again. Just keep this one in mind. For now, we'll actually follow the tracks again. You see this where the ghost came to the wall, walked over here. We'll just follow the little rascal upstairs. That's on the ceiling. See, like went through the wall here to the kids' playroom, got out there, back in here again, and then straight to the ceiling. So is there another light switch here? Yes, there. Also, something interesting. This house was originally supposed to be like a farmer's house, where like a farmer family lived. But when I actually made those windows, I thought, well, it would look a little more interesting. Instead of just having like regular windows in there, would put like these colored glass windows in here. But then I thought, well, what kind of farmer would have these windows? So ultimately just thought, well, what kind of person would have very colorful windows like that? I thought, well, an artist would fit. So that's actually where the entire thing based off the artist, like why Henri is an artist came from. It's actually based off of these windows here. So the next thing is, you can see, ghost came in and went in here. It says the key is like somewhere in the kitchen. Interesting, this is a locked door. If you use it, you can hear sounds playing. Those are actually display entities. Or not display entities, but sorry, interaction entities. 5 different ones. Which you can use, again, it doesn't matter if you do left click or right click. You always make these locked door sounds. The nice thing about this is that even if you're in adventure mode, in creative mode, right, usually, right, you can just like punch out blocks like this. But these interaction entities actually prevent you from doing this. Like if I click here, it doesn't do anything. Here it breaks, but here I can't even do it. So it's also a nice little trick on how to prevent block breaking in creative mode. So let's get the key from over here. It's just all the way the kitchen. Let's turn the lights on. And here's the key. It says washroom key. Let's head back there, and while doing so, let's take a look at the living room. You can see in here a very big TV, which has this little like oven kind of thing. This little looks quite interesting. But downside of doing this was, you can see the fire blocks are actually like where the wall is supposed to be. Is that there's fire blocks are directly behind here. That's also the reason why this azalea stuff here exists, just solely to hide the fire particles coming off of it. You can still see the occasional smoke particle coming out. So that's the only reason why these things even exist to begin with. Now let's open the door, zip, texture changes, turn it on, and let's also take a look again at the ghost. As I said, it's this little like kind of dog with these many tails around it. Ah, good. Now off to the next one at the end of the new trail. Yeah, the reason why Henri always says that, what you need to do next, because like if you think about it realistically, how should he notice, right? We're the hired ghost hunter. He's just the artist who like doesn't know how to get rid of the ghost. The reason he says that is because it was a little hard for playtesters to really figure out what to do, and that the trails on the floor actually change whenever you pick up an item. That's why, like he says it like 3 times in total, right? The first time on the outside, then the second time down in the basement, and now the third time. And afterwards he's just gonna stop talking for now. Also, when it comes to the general layout of these rooms, I tried my best to make a layout of rooms that like makes sense. Like, what if people would actually live here in this room, for example? Like you have the certain rooms, right? You come in to the floor and you have like these little like racks here where you can put clothing, stuff like this. You want to have a guest room for beds, where like people can sleep. They come in here, as well as a washroom, another washroom. The ground floor. This is quite a big house, so why not have some place where the kids can play, especially because of the dining room, which is very close by. That's also where we need to go next. Pick up the next item. So let's get rid of some of these little ghosts here. You can also see they make sparks from time to time. The reason they do that is so there's only 1 or 2 left of them, so you can find them a little easier. Just saw the spark there. See, it's emitting sparks a lot faster now. Most of the other ones are gone. So you just whack them. There was another one here. So let's take a look below the table. There you are, one over here. So, yeah, as I said, try to have a logical room layout. Like if you have a guest dining room nearby and you're cooking like something for the guests, it would be reasonable to have the kitchen right next door, and then have a door connecting it, so you can just like serve everything. As well as if I have a bunch of little kids, like who are known to like not want to wait so long. Once the like dinner is served and everything's eaten, they usually want to go out again. So I just put a little playroom here for the kids, not far from there, where you can go. You know, and stuff like this goes to the entire map. But try to think about, okay, what would you have in terms of layout if people were like actually living in such a place. So now let's take a look at this chest, but as we see, this ethereal chest is locked, we can't open it. What do? We just take a look here, this first riddle we get, or like the second one really, if you count the other key instead. It said, oh, where's a wind turbine? So ideally, if you were very observant, you might still remember that if you go back outside, you'll see that there was a very big wind turbine standing out here. Now, the reason why there is a wind turbine here to begin with is again the same like layout what I just talked about. The family is living in the middle of nowhere, really. If you take a look up.
Hey, don't run off into the cornfield. There's nothing but bugs in there.
Indeed, Henri, that's what happens if you go too far away. He'll tell you that you're not supposed to leave and just come back. But you can see it's a very small area. So it's like, where would the family get their power from? That's what the wind turbine is from. Just a little bit of world building, so it all makes sense. But it also fits well into the actual gameplay here. So, in general, I also want to say the map is supposed to be set in France. It doesn't mention this explicitly anywhere besides the fact that like Henri and his family are French. So just a little bit of background information. Also here's the key we were supposed to find. Also the reason I used like corn plants. The family is living inside. On one hand is a very big plant that's like a bit of makes you feel a little bit uneasy to walk through. Pretty dark, very hard to see inside of. Also, as I mentioned a couple minutes ago, all of this was originally supposed to be a farmer's place, which is why the corn is still here, where it was supposed to be like a little outpost of like a farmer in the middle of a cornfield. When I changed it to an artist, right, of course, they just kept the cornfield, so it still fits. So now Henri and his family are living here in the middle of a cornfield. So let's go back, get the cookie recipe, run here, Grandma's classic cookie recipe. That's the little rascal again. Let's take a look where the next trail goes. Straight to the wall, goes up again. Let's also use the elevator. The elevator actually does not have any power until you turn the power back on. So here you can just like go between all the different floors. You saw that one went up, so let's go upstairs. So we came through. Here went straight into the living room. And from here on, it's a little bit of parkour. Right, ultimately the map is like not a parkour map, which is why I kept the parkour very easy. So I also have plenty of time to jump up there. So let's pretty quickly go up here. Head all the way up to the roof of the house. And up here is the next book. Thing we need to find. Dog and a little crow over here. Yeah, and that is all of the items for the house. This room up here will become important later. For now, you can see all we have to do is jump off. Now, before we are gonna do that, just a little more about this cornfield. This is actually a custom flat map, which means it will generate terrain indefinitely, which means you can just keep running into any direction you want to indefinitely, all the way up to the world border. So there's no real edge, like there's not like there's barrier blocks anywhere. Thought about this, but ultimately thought, you know what, if people want to run out into the cornfield, then well, let them do so. So let's go down over into the second area. Stables, see the ghost again, best to the walls in here. Also, something I wanted to mention, now that I see the wind turbine again, there was supposed to be a couple other things in the cornfield. Like you have this big wind turbine. There were like other like trees or like grain silos and stuff like this, or like a couple of ruins out in the distance. that player could have found. But I ultimately decided against it because I thought it would just be a distraction. Maybe people would just run off to it and think it would be like a part of the map, despite the fact it's just decoration. So I ultimately just scrapped that idea and just left it out. Let's go to the stables. See all the horse stables here. Currently empty because the other horses are out on the ranch. Here, stable of Chompy. Let's get a toy-bone. The ghost will make noises again. And leave another trail to be followed. I think this is also a good point to mention that this map was actually a request I got from my good friend Cookie. Link in the description as well if you want to check him out. Some like last year, like around 5 weeks before Halloween, he asked me if I could make like a little Halloween themed map for him, and I said yes. And after some time later, now, well, this is the map. Turned out pretty nice. I'm happy with it. So just a little bit of background information about all of this even got to be in the first place. Now you can see it's like the door again. It's locked, it's the same thing again. With the interaction entities to block it. It's just a retextured iron door. So even if these wouldn't be there, you couldn't open it. We'll head upstairs. Again, saw that the key, or not the key, sorry, the sign said the key was served as dinner upstairs. So ideally you would take a look at the house. I know upstairs, okay, I have to go one up and just take a look if there's something around here. And there we have it. Saddle storage key. Now the interesting thing is, if you pop this thing out, you will see it'll glow and start making noises. The reason for that is quite simple. It's all of the items actually do this if you drop them out. Why do they do that? It's because the map is quite dark, so it's hard to see at times. If you drop something like off in the shadow, or especially down in the cornfield, like important items like, for example, the ethereal lamp, you'd have a hard time finding it again. And I wouldn't want you to get soft locked. That's why this little indicator light is there. So it's easier to see that. So now let's head back down again. Also while we do so, general location that we're playing in, I said it was supposed to be a farm in the beginning. Although that's not 100% correct, the first idea I had is of course the generic default idea when it comes to these kind of like Halloween maps. That's an old mansion, but I thought, well, it's quite boring really, right? This is the default idea, which is like way too overused, so let's make something a little more creative. I thought about, well, what else could be used? Could, for example, use a candy factory, would be something we could use, which is also what those ruins are over there are. But I ultimately decided against it because I wanted to have like people living in this place who actually care about their place, getting rid of the ghost that's haunting it. Which is why I again ended up with the farm instead, and then later on, as I said, with the artist living in the middle of nowhere. Let's take a look at this thing again. It went out and then went upstairs. Was the ring passed through. Now as we go up here, first of all it's very dark. Let's turn the lights on. You can see this door does not have a handle. As such, you can't open it. Hear the sounds again. The sign even says that the little ghost stole the door handle and buried it under the hay. So I have to like take a look around. The reason I did that is because I thought, well, it would be kind of boring if you would just search keys over and over and over again. So I came up with other ideas what you could potentially use to open the door. And one was just that the ghost just stole the door handle, so you could just physically not open it. You can just go here, click on it again, put it on again, go in, turn the lamp on, the washing room again, laundry, well, it would be realistic rooms you would have like in such a horse stable. But it tends to be a little bit of a dirtier place, so having a dedicated laundry would make sense. Pick up the items supposed to find, and from here on we go over to the ruins. of the candy factory. So, also you remember the cameras that I pointed out down in the pool room? There's another one up here, and if we quickly take a look, up here there's also a camera, up here for example. The reason why there are so many cameras around here is because Henri, as a successful artist, is a little bit paranoid about having his artworks stolen from him. So he just puts up cameras everywhere, so in case somebody comes in here, he can still find the thief quite easily and catch him, so he can get his precious artworks back. So let's follow the trail past another little crow over here. You can see there's a little bulldozer standing here. Somebody collected a bit of rubble. There's parts of the old factory which have since collapsed. You can even see her name here, Swirling Sweets Candy Factory. Now, as I said, in lore, in universe, the lore is that we built this here on the ground where Candy Factory was originally erected. It's tore it all down, built his house here, so he can be far away from other people and focus on his art and not be distracted by people he doesn't like. Yeah, that's the reason, and that's the last part that he still hasn't bulldozed down. He's then going to continue building something else. Now you can see again here it says you need to follow the yellow moon. Now there's only one yellow moon in this map, and that's this one here. Means if you follow it, you can't really see much over there, but as soon as you get a little closer, you see there's a big area here and another ethereal chest with some lockpicks. Again, different idea, and don't just use a key, just use something more creative to open it. Also, the reason why this entire area is so stretched is because I don't know where the person stands. Most likely here when you see this message, but it could also be try to walk around the ruins and then walk in here, so it's easier to see, to find this area, so don't just wander off into the distance. That's why it's stretched like this. Now after lockpicks, open everything, go inside. Trophy. See the ghost again as it cheers for having solved the riddle it gave us. So now something else also. If you take a look at the broom, it actually says down here the broom can't break dust piles, which is what these things are. But most people that I've seen play the map, as well as my playtesters, never made the connection. You can remove this despite what it says in here, which is why I actually put up this sign, just to put a really on the nose hint there, in case you get stuck, that you can just swoop all of this away and be able to progress this way. So here we can see power for the machine is turned off, despite the fact that we have to go in here. There's a footprints going up here. Such quick and easy fix. Turn the power back on and make our way up here. That's the machine. Let's just go up here. Also a little spider here. You can see a couple of animals that I always like to add to my adventure maps. There's also a squirrel we'll see later on. You can even see it over there already. As well as a little woodpecker somewhere on the oak logs over there. Adds a little bit of livelihood to the map. Next thing, and we have to go up again. Again, very simple parkour, as well as figuring out how to get up here. Not like this apparently. Let's try it again, or just skip it for now. Jump over it, jump over the other block as well, and get the item. You could just hear that noise. That was the well opening up. Also here's the scribble I just talked about. The reason the well is boarded up to begin with is because if it was open the entire time, people could fall in and then not get back out again, and this would ultimately soft lock the map, which is why I had to board it up to begin with. Now the ghost just breaks it open, so you can go inside. So just a little bit of problem prevention here. So let's just jump in. It's pretty dark in here. Go around, swoop away the piles again. I can walk over here. Again, there's also a little snail here, trying to climb up. Another little animal. They added for ambience. Now those old wastewater canals here are what the candy factory originally used to get around. Like, not to get around, but to get rid of all its wastewater, right? It's just a remnant that's still around, which fits well into the map. It's a little bit of an artifact, like in universe. Now in here, we have this big empty room. I again have to parkour over it. This parkour was a little bit harder when I first made the map, but I have since made it easier. Well, he says and falls off. Now let's get the map. The ID, the helicopter license of Henri's woman. Now as you just saw, the path just opened up here with water going down. Reason is because now that the blocks here are gone, if you were to fall down here, you couldn't get back up. So you would eventually again soft lock the map, which is why this little pathway here opens up, so you can get back up, so people don't get stuck in here. Now if you follow the trail, you can see these green tiles again. It means we're back on the inside of the house, inside of the pool room again. But you can see, as I mentioned in the beginning, there was a ladder here and now it's gone. Reason for that is that the ladder is now up there, which means we can't get out because we can't jump high enough. That's because like the ghost stole the ladder, because now I actually don't want you to get out. In the beginning, when it was necessary if you fall in, back when this was still boarded up, which the ghost now broke. Now we have to find another way to get out there, and the way to do so is to go and take the other only path we really can take. Let's follow this little canal here, swoop with our broom again, and go back up here into the pump room. You can see there's the pool water pump here, which we can activate, and then take a look at the water over here, because the water is actually rising. Now we couldn't get in any other way here, so like you could imagine if you start a map and you're out here, and you just like wanna go in here and fill up the water early, it would kind of break the map, which is why this room is locked up permanently and you cannot open it at all. Just a little like to make sure again everything works out, there's no sequence breaking of the map. Let's activate this thing here. Let's take a look. You can actually see the water rising up and taking these little floaty toys up with them. So as the pump activates and floods everything, so we can get back out. We go all the way back over here. Oopsie. See, the trail is still the same. You already saw the item. It is, but now we can actually like get up here, swim and jump out. And get the item.
Oh, no, a huge floating castle just appeared outside. I'm ruined, I say.
I have to say, I quite liked that voice acting. It sounds quite exaggerated and cheesy, but I guess that's just the way Henri usually talks as an eccentric artist. Also, you can see as soon as you go outside, the first thing you see is this little castle where Ghost lives in. Deliberately, I placed it there so you can easily see it, right? You just go outside and it's the first thing you see. It's this very obviously unfitting thing here. Also, helicopter landing pad here. Originally, I wanted to have a little road connecting this place back to civilization, because you know how would Henri and his family leave this place, because even they would have to like get like groceries or other stuff from time to time. Originally wanted to put a map, another map, road there, as I just said, but then I thought, well, people might wander off and wonder what is at the end of the road, and I wouldn't want them to do that, so I got rid of that, and instead I thought, well, what else would fit? Well, you could make like a little train station, a little subterranean train station. But again, also, why would anyone build a train station to such a place? So ultimately I thought, well, what is a very eccentric way to get around? And that is a helicopter, of course. You can even go on the inside helicopter. It's also a model taken from Sunny Go Bloom. Adjusted. That doesn't take off, of course. Just decoration. But still a total something again, just something you think about. World building. All little things. How the people get around. Where they get their food from and stuff like this. Let's make ourselves walk over to the castle here. Get up a little garden for some basic food production. The staircase. Going to walk up here. So we're almost up. And here we are. So it's very trippy to look at, but I really like it. Gives off this like eerie, unusual vibe. Again, you can see there's the item over there we can get, because there's like a barrier here that you can't walk through. To turn on the lamp again, you can see no entry for you. You have to solve the 2 riddles first, which are of course the 2 rooms. Now the first room is really quite easy, right? It's just a tiny little maze. It's pretty easy to get through. At the end we get a door piece, and then a little like shortcut so you don't have to go through the maze again. Just walk on top of it, jump over to get to the other side. Now the other riddle, I thought up something a little more creative, because you stand here and like don't really know what to do. Maybe after some time you figure out that there's a platform up here with a chest, but how do you get up there? Of course you can't jump up there. None of this here works. So you start walking, and ideally you start notice that these gaps in between here, but it's like a little path that's supposed to lead you. You can see that there are these outlines here. So if you slowly sneak over it, you'll see that some blocks start to appear below you. So it's a little bit of an invisible walkway that you have to find based on how the sparkles appear. Now, how is this done in game? It's really just like barrier blocks. You can see the path going up here. It just winds around. So you can just like walk over here, but of course if you don't see the barrier blocks as you would in adventure mode, it gets a little slower that you have to take it to figure out, okay, where's the path leading us. As the blocks appear in front of you. Also the reason these things are purple and don't have the same blue color as everything else here was because it was a little hard to see. If you use these default blue colors, you can see everywhere it was a little hard to make out, which especially in the beginning was a little bit problematic for playtesters to figure out where they had to go, because it made it hard to see, which is why I turned it into this bluish color. And not in the bluish color, I turned it from the bluish color into the purple color. And we're up here with the second door piece. Now we can just jump down again. Now something I found while testing the map, while it says down here we can place these little squirrely thingies to unlock everything. But if we go into creative mode and pick one of these things, you can see it's just prismarine bricks. And the way stuff works is that you can actually, now of course you're supposed to place it on this thing, but theoretically you can also place it on here. And if we do this, you would again softlock the map, which is why I had to implement a matter to prevent that. So if you place it here, everything is fine, but if you place it on here, the game will detect that you did it wrong. That automatically will swap it over here and connect it up with this little like sparkly electric line. Again, same thing goes for over here. You could place it here, which would be the correct way to do it. Place it over here, which the map would again detect and figure out, no, it's supposed to be over here. But what if you like place it on here again? Is the map then going to break? No, doesn't. It still figures it out that it's supposed to go there. And sets it all where it's supposed to go, so nothing breaks. So let's get the last item here.
That was the last of our belongings. Now do whatever it takes to get this rascal off my property.
Indeed, that's what we're going to do. All of the items we got here. Now, the thing I didn't quite know for like some time when I made the map was how I would like to end the map. Of course I wanted to have like ultimate confrontation with the ghost, like to get rid of it. And I had like a little fight in mind. We had to fight this little mini ghost that you have to like whack. But ultimately I thought, well, that doesn't really quite fit the vibe of the map, given that it is more of a like puzzle and exploration map and not really a combat map. So I scrapped that and thought, well, what would kind of fit? to the end such a map that is like not fighting based. And the thing I came up with ultimately was a little quiz. Now, the interesting thing here, these questions are actually not hard-coded. They are random every time you play the map. So if we run a little function command here, we just have to type this out here real quick. So see where all the commands are. So like a bunch of the functions that make the map run. If we run this function here, you see that the questions change every time. There's a total of nine questions you can answer, and like but only 5 of them will get asked every time you play the map. So every time you play it will be a little bit different. Now, what happens if you like answer wrong? Like how many horses are walking on a range outside? You say 3, that's correct. But what if you like choose the wrong answer? How's the family leave this place? Now we just talked about it outside. If they fly around with a helicopter. But what if I like answer the subway again? Then he does this moo sound, just moo, too bad, you did it wrong. And there's a couple little ghosts spawn here you have to whack. Again, of course, the other one does the same. But you can even press it again if you want to spawn even more of these little ghosts. And then you have to get rid of all of them. Otherwise they'll, start hopping at you the entire time. Oh, there's another one. Get over here. And yet another one. Come on. So, I fly with a helicopter. How many items did I take from the family? Now here you just have to like count how many items. Those are of course all of the keys. Do not count towards that. And all of the questions are something you could reasonably know. So they're all of which you could either just look outside of the window to find. For example, you had a question about the color of the stable again. If you don't remember that, you can just like look outside and take a look at it. Now you can see there's a total of 11 items here. Click on that. Also, this is also a great example. There's 2 questions out of the total of 9 ones, which only have correct answers, so it doesn't matter what you answer here. What is the moon made from? It's either cheese, more cheese, or even more cheese. Now the obvious answer is of course it's even more cheese, but it would have not have mattered. Could have done everything. So now...
Is it gone? It's gone, right? My castle is gone. Finally, in peace. Now, please come back down to us.
We will soon do so, Henri. But we're not quite done yet. Because, again, there's another question that could have popped up, which was about the ghost itself, where the ghost asked you just if it is really spooky, and the answers were all basically just yes. You're very spooky and very amazing. Yes. Again, the room up here is a little dining room. You can see how we already had one down at the bottom. But what this one here is like for very big parties. Now, how do you get up here? Usually, of course, you have the balcony that we just got up, but of course, normal people can't walk up here. The place is not haunted now. Instead, there is an elevator here. You can see which is one of the ways to get down. On the other hand, you could just like jump down again to get back to Henri, either down into this like little water pond here, or alternatively just like take the elevator. Now you can see the elevator down here says we're currently in the 3rd floor, but the actual elevator, as well as all the other ones like we saw down in the other layers, they only have these 3 options, which is of course which means once you go down here, if you go like from the 3rd floor down to the 1st floor, back again, which is right up here. We just were all the way up there. Now we're down here now. Thing is, you can actually get back up again, which of course, like lore-wise, is not actually this case. It's just like something I had to do for the map, so when I get confused why you can go up there to begin with. Now, something you may have also noticed is it said 1st floor here, where we just are. But if you're up here, it actually says that this is the elevator for the 3rd floor. Which leaves the question, well, where's the 2nd floor supposed to be? Well, quite easy. The 2nd floor is this part here. It's a little scrapped area. If you go outside, you can see it's what's behind these little windows here, behind the roof, where I walked around. Like we stood up here when we got the book. This is the 2nd floor. It's the attic, basically. You never go here, so it's a scrapped area that I just removed because it was just not necessary to have it. the game. See now all the lights in here are fully functional, so I've wired up all of them. I'll show you the logic in a minute or two. Because it takes quite a lot of command blocks to just get these little light switches going. Into your elevator off the attic, aka the second floor, again, only with like the basic options. Go back to the ground floor. And let's go back down and finish the main part of the map. Go to Henri. Now you can see when you arrive here, you can see that the people are now facing you. As you come out, as you might remember, they actually stood on the other side. Here, I changed this because it looks a lot nicer if they actually take a look at you properly. If games are actually moved around. So let's listen to the dialogue.
Well, there you are, our ghost hunter. Well done. I rarely give compliments to people, so keep this one as one of the most precious things you'll ever get, mon ami. I even allow you to spend the rest of this Halloween night with us, and that's an even greater honor. If not, then, well, it was nice to have you here. Goodbye.
Indeed, thanks a lot, Henri. But we're not quite done here. As you may remember from the start, I told you to take a look at these stick breads, and now you can actually see how they're all eaten up. So when in the time while you played through the map, the family actually ate everything here, together with like their little kids sitting here. Also a question, by the way, you can get: how many kids does the family have? Yeah, there's so much for that basically. Now let's see what else. Yes, some of the other maps, other names for the map that I considered for making the map. Now currently the name is Spooky Chase at Halloween. A few other names I had were the Haunted Halloween House, as well as the Ghostly Coop at Halloween, with Coop referencing how the ghost took over the house, or really the entire property, if you take all of it into account. I wanted to have Halloween in there because it's easy to find people, find for people when they look for it later on. And I ultimately settled with Spooky Chase at Halloween, which is really more of a description if you think about it than an actual name. But ultimately, I think it's nice and fits pretty well. So let's also take a look below the map on a bunch of the command blocks. Now a lot of the logic is function driven, so you can't really look at it. It's just sorted back when I scroll through those functions. But the funny thing is, most of these command blocks here really are just the light switches. All of these things here are just light switches, which determine what gets turned on and what doesn't get turned on. How to turn back off, where all the lamp positions are and stuff like this, as well as some basic redstone logic. Also, there's a little chest over here. You can see a bunch of items that are all labeled uninteresting. Those were some random stuff that you can find in other chests, so to feel a little bit more alive. So not just empty chests or empty items, but ultimately, given that you get most of the items actually dropped onto the ground, this was not really necessary, so I just removed it, even though I added a couple different items here, you see the rip book or a treasure map or stuff like this, all of which are items from the Duke's Demise map. Then ultimately I decided against it because it was not really necessary, so I just scrapped that. Also, if we go back up here, of course you can see all the other maps you can play through. We'll talk about that in a second. If you go back into thing, you can see that Adventure Map Helper asks you if you want to play again. Now you have a button here, because yes, reset and start the map. If you click on that, it will actually reset the entire map, and you can just start playing again, and don't even have to download the map again. It's a little something because I make all of my maps resettable anyways, because it helps a lot while making the map. And so it's something I'll just add it. It's very easy to do, in case you like the map so much you just want to play again. Also, something you saw, maybe, that all of these command blocks are in a pretty peculiar shape. They're all very stacked on top of each other. Reason for that is because they are all inside of a single chunk, which just force loaded all the time to make sure that everything works properly and there's not more resources get used than necessary to keep the experience very smooth. Now, that's pretty much all of it. If you liked the playthrough of the map, again, the download. Link is in the description. You can play some other maps, like the first map I made here. A definite recommendation from my end is the Ans Lament map. If you like very intense combat maps and the story about how the end came to be. I've been told it's similar to Doom, so if you like that, you can definitely take a look at that for very intense gameplay. Savannah Scramble, the map that Rich MC played and got the channel growing a lot. Thanks a lot for that again. As well as Sunny Bloom if you like Super Mario Sunshine. Definitely give this map a try, as well as some of the newer ones that are not even listed in here because they didn't exist back then. But with that, I'd say that's pretty much it from my end. So a little developer commentary for the map. And I hope you liked it and learned a couple things. If you have any more questions or just like to say that you liked it, leave a comment down below. I'm always delighted to read those. Yes, and with that, I'd say that's all and happy Halloween.